Hello everyone, I hope all is well. My name is Sukhum HING and welcome to another live stream episode of the Sukhum Show. Thanks for tuning in today. And today is Wednesday, so it is story time. And the story that I'm sharing with you guys is another one of my personal journey and the things that I've been doing. And this happened in a moment of my life where I was still I wouldn't say young, but I didn't felt like or think about responsibilities, and I was just not focused in my life. And it had to do with me playing video games for an entire year. So I will be digging more into that and sharing that story with you guys. But as I reflect back on it, there's some lessons and learnings that I find really valuable that I still take away till this day. And I think about it a lot too. So that'll be one of the conversation I want to share with you guys today in story time, and an update on hashtag Omatum Day 24. That's also another nice little tip or another little thing they want to share. And of course, I want to share a quote with everybody. And the quote goes like this: "If you are persistent, you will get it. And if you are consistent, you will keep it." I really like this quote because if you think about it, there are a lot of things that people want to do in their life. There's a lot of people that are doing similar, I want to say line of work or line of business, but you've got to be persistent if you want to get there. And then you've got to show up consistently to maintain that and keep that. And I guess that what shows up like when you think about like those, like in music industry, there's that one hit wonder and they make all this money and then you hear stories about them going bankrupt afterwards. Like they're not ready for that. They weren't consistently doing things. So, and I can't say for every single scenario, but I feel like that's what comes up a lot where people don't know how to manage money. They're just good at one craft, which interesting enough, that's another time, another story I want to share with you. But definitely being persistent will get it for you. And if you're consistent, you'll keep it. I really love that quote. I will talk about 1 year of playing video games. And I mentioned this in the past with some of the live streams I did in the past or some of the videos I made. So I actually spent an entire year playing video games. And the video game I played was called World of Warcraft. And if you guys didn't know what it is a online like multiplayer video game where you're essentially leveling up and then you're gonna you can do two paths mainly. It's a multiple path, but two main paths. One is you're gonna be in the like PvE, player versus the environment and the world around you, or PvP, which is player versus player, and you're technically going around fighting other people in different battles and maps and stuff like that. And then there's another one where you're fighting dungeons and bosses and you're going through all that within a team, whether it be a 5-man team, a 10-man team. And the time that I was playing, there was like a 20-man raid. I think it's 20 or 25. It's been so long. I'm pretty sure it's a 20. Yeah, 20-man raid. And so I want to share you with my journey on that one too, right? It was my buddies who they were playing that really heavily. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to spend hours and hours just trying to level up. And I don't know how much fun that is, you know? And then he explained to me like the leveling up portion is part of it. But once you get to the max level, that's where you get to play and go into the big bosses and dungeons. And that's the fun part, doing it as a team. So what he did was he brought his computer to my house. He bought the game and he did this power level where he pretty much created my character and he had my character follow his character, and he pretty much took me around everywhere and he leveled me up. And I was just sleeping. I wasn't even really paying attention to most of that. I was just doing my own thing. And next thing you know, I got to like level 70. At the time, this was when TOC, Trials of Crusaders, and Wrath of the Lich King era that I played this. I'm gonna not try to go into too much of the details of the game, but because there's the lessons that I want to get out of it too. But the end intention is I got to level 70, and he's like, I can't level you anymore. It's just too tough. So I had to play for myself, and I'm this rookie newbie level 70 that don't know anything about my character. I don't know how to play it. And so I just went into this PvP world and I just kept fighting people, and I didn't realize I gained experience from that. And next thing you know, after a month of just mashing buttons and just running around, I end up hitting level 80, and I really didn't know what to do. So I just kept playing the PvP side and just kept fighting people and just having fun with that. And that was what I did for a couple months. And then I found out about this thing called dungeons, which is like a 5-man dungeon instance actually. But there was a group that had 4 people, and I was just standing around. They asked me, hey, you want to join me? You want to join us in this group? And I told them like, hey, I've never been on to any of these things, so I don't know what I'm doing. And they're like, no worries, they will guide you, like we'll guide you and we'll follow along. And from that moment, I loved the 5-man dungeon. We went through one boss after another, and then we got some prizes at the end. But I really love all that, and it was a great group. They took me in, and I actually joined their guild, and we had a lot of fun. And that was the beginning of my journey of playing World of Warcraft. I took it a lot more seriously after that, and they really took me under their wing. Like, I did not know how to play my character. They taught me how to play my character. I didn't know what to do in a dungeon fight. They taught me everything, and I learned a lot. And about probably a month of playing with them, like, I wanted to expand out and learn more and then provide value back to the team. And what I found out was, like, in the city where we were hanging out, there was a random Saturday, and there was this one guy posting up on chat asking like, hey, I'm looking for people to join my raid, which dungeon, and it's a 20-man dungeon. I'm like, 20-man dungeon? I've never done that one. So I wanted to join. I asked him, hey, can I join? And then he did a quick check on my gears, and I guess the gears will tell you how much you can potentially do in terms of like your performance. Pros and cons on that, I don't want to go into details, but that was just the gist of it. He told me like, hey, you're wearing a lot of PvP gears. Do you have any PvE gears? And I'm like, no, this is all I have. He's like, I don't think you'll be able to handle this dungeon with the current gears you have. And I was like, all right. I was a little sad, you know, but I told him like, all right, just in case if you need somebody, I'm here. I'm willing to support, you know, I'm a great listener. I didn't hear nothing back from him. Like, literally right before he started, he sent me a message. He's like, hey, I need another person. You want to join in? I was like, yeah. So I'm super excited. I join in, and he got me on a vent, another program to chat. So I was listening to instructions. They were telling me what to do left and right. My first 20-man raid, I was a complete newbie. I did not know what I was doing. And they have this chart, and the chart will show you your name and everyone else's name, and that's your performance chart. Kind of your I'm a DPS, damage per second, and like literally, because I was brand new and I was still learning my character, I was literally at the bottom of the chart when it came to performance. And he was really nice about it. I spent like a good 2-3 hours playing and doing the dungeon with him, and we got a few bosses down out of like 6 or 7. I think that's the goal for this dungeon. And he was really nice. He gave me some feedback at the end. He told me like, hey man, like you definitely need to get better gears if you want to increase your performance level. And then so I went back to my team and asked him like, hey, how can I get better gears? And then they told me about like, hey, there's this thing like you have to do every single day to get certain points and to buy more gear to get better. I'm like, okay, cool, I can do that. And then there's other dungeons that you can do that's smaller that you can also gain more gears and get better. Cool, I'm gonna go do that too. And then I was so pumped up. I played like crazy for like a week. And then next Saturday came. I was there right on time. I was waiting. I was actually early. I was just sitting there waiting for him. And then as soon as he popped up and asked, like, looking for a group, I asked him right away, hey, can I join your group? And then like, I have a little bit better gears now. At first, he's hesitant. And then he's like, all right, I'm going to invite you in. But if I get other people that has better gear than you, that's going to do better than you, I'm probably going to kick you out. I was like, oh, that's fine with me. Just give me a chance, you know? And he did. He gave me a chance. And this time, since I paid attention the first time around, I listened closely to the instructions. I was doing a lot better in the performance. I was probably middle of the chart. I did better. And yeah, he gave me some good feedback at the end. You know, it's like, hey, good job, man. You did a lot better too. And I got some gears to help me build up. Next week around, I grind even harder. I did even more research. This time I started watching YouTube videos and researching on the channel on like what to do for my character and everything. And the third Saturday came around. He saw me. I was going to send him a message. He already invited me into the group. And I was like, oh, that's awesome, you know? And it was really great because I was climbing the chart in the performance. I knew what was needed, and I had a really fun time. And then my team, my guild, I started telling them about it, and they're like, you know what? Why don't we as a guild start doing some dungeons too, like 10-man dungeons instead of 20-man. I'm like, yeah, I'm super pumped up for that. And we started doing more dungeons and raids, and I got more experience. I learned more about my character, and I think it was about the fourth or fifth time on the Saturdays, I kept showing up every single Saturday. I kept following him. I took notes on the way he was leading. I really write down verbatim what he said, what he was looking for in people, and I wrote it down. I like literally scripted, because like 4 or 5 weeks into this, following him and doing the same raid with him, he really said the same thing over and over, and his jokes were the same thing over and over too. But I even wrote down his jokes too, and I really copied everything down because I know one day I wanted to run my own raid. I wanted to lead my own 20-man dungeon, and this is the time when the new content came out. And when the new content came out, he created a group on Saturdays now to do the new content. So he stopped doing the old content. And I've been showing up every Saturday, and he invited me every single time. And I learned the new content. It was way, way harder. But it's a new stuff, so it's supposed to be hard. And what realized was that I kept doing that on Saturday, and I really missed the old content. So I end up doing, on Sundays, I decided to run my own 20-man raid, and led that. And it was nerve-wracking and interesting at the same time. I didn't know what it took to component to build a team. I didn't know the component really in terms of like the bosses in depth, and how to like distribute prizes as they come out. Like that was all new to me. I just thought like if I kept doing everything he did, it will work out. For the most part, it did. We got through like 1 or 2 bosses, but then that's as far as we got. But for a first time doing it over, I learned a lot from that, and that was really interesting for me. And I replicated and I just imitated him on that too. And to speed things up a little bit through the journey, and what I've learned also from the journey too, is that I continue to run that Sunday team, and I build more credibility. People start recognizing me as a leader on that one too. And then my guild leader asked me, hey, we're getting more people into the guild. Would you like to run a 20-man? Would you like to lead the 20-man raids and dungeons? And we can do the same content you've been doing. I'm like, absolutely, you know, especially within our own guild. I felt comfortable too. I knew the people, and I had a great time. And then all of a sudden, the guy that I was following on Saturdays to do the new content, he just stopped. Like he didn't come out. I think he switched or he did something else, but he stopped showing up. And I'm like, okay, I still want to do this. So I decided to run the new content and led a team. And there was already a few people who liked my stuff, and then my guild too, combined them together. I did had a solid 20-man team now to do the new content on Saturdays. And they were really supportive. They gave me their insight, their feedback, and we started trying the new bosses. And for me, I was just raid leading in the sense of I downloaded some apps, some mods to help me out, and I just literally followed that and shared that with the team. And it worked out. They were like, okay, we know what to need to do. Okay, cool, let's do this, let's do that. Like, I didn't know every aspect, but I kept moving forward and kept doing things. And it was really exciting because we started clearing more content and we kept moving forward. And then the conversation came like, hey, we're rising up in the ranks as a guild among this entire server, and we're just moving up and up. And then like more people wanted to join our guild, more people wanted to join the raids, and we were just having a blast. And like it got really it was fun at one point, and then I was still zoned in on like, let's get better. What's the end goal? This is new content. I want to beat the last boss, and I want to get that achievement. And that's what I was working so hard for. And I was able to meet a group of people that joined our guild, and then I created my own 10-man group that focused on the new content stuff. And we were spending days and days and just drilling into the new stuff. And we progressed it really far. And here's the turning point on this too. Because of my progression, because of me so focused on moving forward and forward, what happened was there was almost a disconnect within our guild where, yes, I'm leading stuff, but I'm so far ahead now with my own content that some of my team, my guild members wasn't there. They enjoyed taking their time. They enjoyed doing their things. And I started getting like big headed, and I thought I was like doing really well, building a good team. And then like, I'm looking at them, they're like, as they're not carrying their weight, and that caused some friction, and it led to more arguments and frustrations. Like, yeah, guys, I'm running my 10-man. I can't help you guys out in your raid right now. They're like, there's some people on the team that wanted to join my 10-man that's really advanced. I'm like, hey, I really can't have you in there. Like, you're not able to pull your own weight. So like, there was a lot of like butting heads, me and the guild leader and like the other raid leaders. And it got to a point really bad. Like, I guess I was really offending some people, and I was kicked out of the guild, like, to that point. And it wasn't a highlight in my life. Actually, it was a realization, like, to really check myself on that one. But yeah, that was a really sad point in my life. I lost some friends. I burned some bridges in that area, all because I was just so focused on just like moving forward and creating more. And that was a low point in that game. And but at the time I didn't realize that. I'll say that I didn't even think about it, and I kept moving forward, and I started my own guild, and I took like some of the people that joined the guild that was part of the group that wanted to do the new content. They joined me, and we built our own team, and we kept moving forward, and we kept building on our guild, and kept working on trying to clear the end boss. And we end up accomplishing that, to be honest. Like, we just kept that as our focus, and we grind, and we beat the last boss, the Lich King, and we got the achievement. So that was really a big moment. I mean, I just got up and just kept moving on that part. And then like, I also had like another character, and I also accomplished the same goal with the other character. And what I want to share with everybody, that was a time where like, after completing the end goal with 2 different characters, I was like, what's next for me? I was at a level like, yeah, I don't know what was next. So I wanted to share then, like, at that point in time, was that I was really burned out with video games and World of Warcraft. I didn't know what I wanted to do next. And that's where I literally stepped away, and I picked up a full-time job, which is interesting. That's when I started Lululemon. That's my company that I'm with now. I wanted a change in my life, and I found Lululemon and looked into personal development. And it's been an amazing journey now too. But that's for another day story. To wrap up the story of playing the World of Warcraft and playing that game, what I really want to share with you guys is about like 8 lessons that I took away from that journey, right? So the lessons I took away was that, 1, starting off, I was horrible. Like literally horrible. There were people, like probably 90% of people playing that game was probably better than me. I did not know a thing, but I kept moving. I kept doing something. I didn't know what to do, or I didn't know how to do it, and I showed up pretty bad. I think I was kicked out of multiple. Raid groups for not knowing anything, and it was amazing. I laugh. I look back and I laugh at it too. Second thing, I practice. I spent a year playing video games, but for the first 4 to 6 months, it was me putting in the practice, putting in the hours, learning my character, learning how to raid, learning how to play with others in groups and guilds, and learning the game. So I put in the hours, I put in the practice. So number 3, I imitated my leaders. So I had my guild leader, I had the raid leaders in that group, I had the raid leader guy who was on that Saturday who showed me how to do things. I literally imitate how they did it, and then I just repeat that. And after doing 1 or 2 trials of that, I learned my own style and I evolved it to my way of leading. So it's okay to imitate. Let's look at the people that we want to follow down the road. How do we imitate them? And just start off. You might mess up, you might fumble. Oh well. You might do that the first couple times, but come 4th, 5th, 6th time, you'll get better at it. I know. I definitely improved on it too. Number 4, I kept pushing my boundaries. And that is huge because I went from running as a newbie in a 5-man group to a newbie in a 10-man group, a newbie in a 20-man group, to leading those groups, to building my own guild, to being a leader who is completing end game content, hitting achievement like that too. I kept pushing myself. I didn't have people I started following and imitating, leaders I imitate. I had to be that leader. I had to do the extra research from others, but I had to lead the group. So that was huge. So keep pushing your boundaries, and that's just so huge. So keep doing that. Number 5, I had to do the research. I had to put in the work to lead the way. So I kind of touched back on the last one. That's part of 5 too. But leading the way is huge, and that's that action. Just keep doing. Number 6, be humble and be grateful. I look back on that, on the bridges I burned. I realized that all it was now is just a communication where my goals was shifting, where I was trying to head towards end content, and then I had a team who was content and they happy with what they like and they're keeping true to themselves. And I could have done a better job communicating that gap to them and let them know, like, hey guys, here's where I'm ultimately heading. And being honest with them, like, guys, like what I've seen from you guys, like you guys haven't been able to do this. So if you guys want to join that content, we can definitely do it. But we could have definitely, like, what do you guys need from me to support you? Do I need you to run in other dungeons to get you better gears? Do I need to help you look through your characters? And it was a shift because I was the one in the other end asking them for support. Now I felt like I was the one trying to share and help them, and that was just a communication point. I could have done a better job at communicating that. So be humble, be grateful. Number 7, I found people that were passionate about what I was passionate about. The group, when I left, or when I got kicked out of the guild, I had like a solid group of people who left and joined me, and they were passionate about end game content. And they joined me, and we followed along, we kept pushing, and we achieved our goal. So you'll find people that are passionate about the things you are, and I can't stress enough to keep those people around you and keep pushing through with them, because they are your life force. They are your source of support and morale, and they will bounce ideas off of you. And I think I'm grateful for some of the people on YouTube right now who's watching my content and who's sticking along with me and joining my journey. I thank you so much, and I appreciate and value that so much. Number 8, the last one I have for you guys will be, during the journey that we have, that I went through, it taught me the weight of being a leader. Like I had a ton of conversation with people being frustrated, a ton of conversation about people showing up, a ton of conversations regarding plans, futures, strategic, like leader type conversations like I wasn't used to, or I didn't spend a lot of time in. And people valued and appreciate that about me and how I showed up. And I realized because when I said I was going to do something, I do my best to keep to that. And in a raid group, I try my best to like be clear and concise on what we need to do, guys. Like, hey guys, we're going to start damaging the boss. Everyone, shift to your left. All right, countdown in 3 seconds. We need to all shift to the right. 3, 2, 1. All right, shift to your right. And what I've learned as I practice was that sense of calmness in me when I'm raid leading, when things that are going bad or south or like things that aren't going as planned, I'm able to adapt quickly and just call out things that I see. Cool, guys. Our tank is down, guys. We need to extra heals on this. All right, I need everyone to shift. I'll be off tanking. I'll be doing this, and I'm just calling things in the moment. I'm calling things in the spur, and that taught me a lot as a leader to really adapt and practice agility. So, some really great things about being a leader. Some really great takeaways. 26 minutes. I did not expect this to be this long, honestly, but this was a journey for me that I really value. I did. You can say I lost a year of my life just playing video games, but the lessons I learned from it, because the amount of commitment that I put in, that I gained something, that I grew doing that, I will never take that back, because that taught me a lesson for me. Because I looked at now, I'm doing YouTube video. I'm in social media. I'm probably horrible right now. I'm probably not doing the best things that I could do to leverage, to expand on things, but it's okay. I'm okay because I know what it means down there. And if I didn't share this tip with you guys, would be it's about, this will be the 9th tip. Sorry, I'm missing one last thing. Would be that, remember I shared with you that the guy that started doing the new content, the 20-man dungeon content, he stopped showing up, and I stepped in and started doing that. And I was the one leading the way for new things to come, leading it in a way that they didn't know either, because this is new content. And there wasn't a lot of people on our server doing it. So I was creating that. I was pushing forward for that one too. And I think about that, right? And I relate that back to my business, the things that I want to do. And I've been thinking a lot about like, okay, what am I going to do? Coaching, development. There's a lot of that. Okay, maybe I should niche, like know on what I want to do. And I think about my experience then, right? I didn't think about all that. And I wonder now too, like, what would it look like? It just gives me goosebumps thinking about like, what would it look like if I continue to do what I do and then pave the way for something brand new in the future? And that just excites me. Like the quote I said, if you're persistent, you will get it. I know I'll get there. But if you're consistent, you'll keep it. And I know I'm going to keep it as well too. But I look at my strength as a maximizer. I know I'm going to keep polishing that and get it better and better and better. And I'm excited to be leading the forefront of, coaching and development and personal development. Like, I know there'll be ideas out there that I haven't even thought about yet, and they're collaboration with people that I haven't even met yet. But just like me leading new content, that excites me. And that's what I'm looking forward to. And this is something like a lesson from just playing video games and going through the trials of getting kicked out of raids, not saying you're not good enough. Understanding that, I'm definitely focused on that moving forward. So it's been a great reflection thinking about that journey that I went through. So thank you for tuning in. I just want to share that with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and love to get your guys' thoughts on some of the lessons and learnings you get that you took away, that you realize, and that you like from the story. I mean, if you look back on stories that you have, experience that you have, what lessons, what reflections are you taking away from it? And a lot of these show up in your mind or show up in your memory a lot in terms of like, you never really forgot that. So think about that and what reflections do you have? So 29 minutes. I just want to wrap it up. I know I mentioned to do hashtag Omatum day 24 down. I really didn't want to run today, but I still did. I ran my mile, got it in, 24 days down, super excited. We have 6 more days left and we hit our goal. And I'm still going to continue past that too. But thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate it as always. And till then, this is Sukhum Hing signing out of the Sukhum Show. Thanks for tuning in. Till next time, take care. 1, 2.